Hi friends, it's Rabbi Briskin with a thought for Shabbat. I apologize in advance. This thought this week, this commentary, is a little bit longer than most others are. However, I'm not giving a sermon or a Devar Torah tomorrow night, Friday night, so I figured I'd use this time to share some reflections on events of this past week. So every winter around this time of year, we return to the narratives that describe the exodus from Egypt, the giving of the Ten Commandments, the development of the Israelites into a community, and the instructions for the building of the Mishkan, the portable desert sanctuary. These Torah portions from Exodus begin to transform the Israelites from tribes into a nation. It is perhaps our ancient history, our sense of peoplehood, our commitment to our Jewish heritage, and our religious observances that have sustained us for thousands of years, well after all of the distinct religions and cultures of antiquity disappeared. This is one reason why we return to the same narratives of the Torah year after year. It reinforces our understanding of who we are and where we came from. These different facets of peoplehood, heritage, religion, these different facets of our identity unite all Jews, whether those who were born into Judaism or those who chose Judaism and converted into it. Now, despite others trying to limit who we are, for example, by calling Jews a race, our identities go well beyond the color of our skin, which in my mind is what racial identity is about. Jews are white, black, brown, and Asian. Jews in some part of the world look very much like the other peoples of those nations. For example, Jews who fled Arab lands in the late 1940s and early 50s to make their way to Israel, to safety in Israel, looked more like their former Arab neighbors in Aleppo and Beirut than they did like their fellow Jews who came from Poland. So, when Whoopi Goldberg shares her belief that the Holocaust was not about race, I do understand where she's coming from. If I'm walking down the street with a black man or woman, I am seen as white and my friend as black, and that is a racial construct that is visible with the naked eye. However, because Hitler labeled Jews as a race and an inferior one at that, we must hold on to that identifying marker, Jews as a race, in the context at least of Holocaust education. Now, I define Judaism as many things, as culture, religion, ethnicity, and heritage. However, I don't typically define Judaism as a race unless my enemy does and uses racial terminology to justify killing me because of my Jewish race, so to speak, as Hitler did. Over the past few weeks, our Jewish community institutions have had to respond to Colleyville, a rural school board in a small Tennessee town that chose to ban the Holocaust graphic novel called Mouse, and now Whoopi Goldberg. Now, I do not consider the clumsy and inaccurate statements by FBI agents, school board members, and Whoopi Goldberg to be anti-Semitic or deliberately hurtful. However, they are insensitive, misguided, and misleading, and yes, they are hurtful, deliberate or not. The reason Jews were killed by Nazis is not because they were an inferior race, or because it was one white group's inhumanity against another white group. Jews were exterminated simply because they were Jews. Period. The Anti-Defamation League's statements about Whoopi Goldberg's comments have been moderate and helpful, and hopefully this will be a learning experience. Perhaps the Tennessee school board members will learn something too about Holocaust literature and know that an acceptable Holocaust novel does not require the protagonist to survive or be saved by good Gentiles who want to save Jews. Holocaust novels should not have happy endings. In the meantime, we have to continue responding to slight after slight, one insensitive comment after another, as we help others understand why this is so painful and difficult for us. I am grateful that the response to the Tennessee School Board has resulted in a lot of soul-searching in that community and beyond. Soul-searching that will lead to action. Now, I'm grateful that hundreds of thousands of people, especially high school students, are now interested in reading Mouse. I myself plan to revisit it, and I haven't looked at it in years. However, I also yearn for the days when I don't have to devote time to explaining to people who aren't Jewish, and even to people who are, why these words hurt. I yearn to be understood and for my stories to be seen as Jewish stories that inform who I am as a Jew. Wishing all of you a safe and healthy and restful Shabbat Shalom.